Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and one of my favorite guests is in the studio, the inimitable Veronica Murphy. She's the artistic director for Write Out Loud. Always good to see you, Veronica.
Thanks, Drew. It's great to be here again.
Right, and I'd be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to Walter. How's Walter doing?
Oh, yeah, he's doing fine.
Very good. Joined by your colleague, Pamela Brittain. She is a performer for Write Out Loud, former teacher at Southwest High School down in South County, and a whole bunch of other stuff. How you doing, Pamela?
Fine, thank you. Nice to be here.
Thanks for coming in on the studio. I'm honored to have sitting as my guest co-host, Oscar Juarez. He's a senior at San Diego State and majoring in journalism, which I did before Oscar's great-grandparents were alive. Oscar, how you doing?
Doing good. Very honored to be here, sir.
Well, we're just thrilled to have you. How do you enjoy the journalism at San Diego State?
Oh, very great. It's a great department, great studies, great people. I think I want to give a shout out to Temple Northrop, great man, director of journalism at SDSU. Great man.
Yeah. You know, when I was there, I know he's relatively new, I think department chair, if I'm not mistaken, or at least in the field that you're in. I was on the print side a zillion years ago, and then actually became a sports writer, and then morphed to the dark side of journalism. I ran community and public relations for the Union Tribune. That's when I first met Veronica. So I'm going to have Oscar give you a question right out of the gate.
All right, so the mission of Write Out Loud is to inspire, challenge, and entertain by reading literature aloud to audiences of all ages. Write Out Loud engages people of all ages with stories of all kinds, whether it be with stories that you write or reread, and stories we tell, stories we act. Any story that makes you laugh, makes you think, makes you pause, and makes you wonder. Write Out Loud is here to provide you with opportunities to take your story-centric experience to the next level. So when was your organization founded in 2007? Oh, sorry.
It was founded in 2007.
It was founded in 2007, but that's okay. I can give you the sort of impetus. We began with what we now call our story concerts, and we were, I was currently involved at Signet Theater when they were over in Rolando, and there was an actress in the show that I was in that was becoming a producer, and she was renting out North Coast Rep for her production, and she gave us an afternoon that we could bring in actors to read stories. We had 23 people in our audience, and that was the beginning in 2007. And this season, which opens in just a few days, is our 19th season.
Wow.
So you opened the same year I started my podcast.
Oh, we have so much in common.
See, there's got to be some celebration in there somewhere. And if not, it'll just be you and I and Walter. How's that sound?
Sure.
We'll do that. Pamela, when did you get involved with the Write Out Loud?
That first concert.
Oh, my goodness. So you've been involved in that. 2007 is a red letter year, I guess, in that aspect of it. Talk about your background.
Well, I'm a teacher. I was a teacher. I'm retired from Southwest High School. And during that time, I had an opportunity to partner with my friends Veronica and Walter. And we did a lot of stuff in the school and my school, and brought things to the South Bay, such as art based on literature, things like that.
How do the kids react to it?
It's really an important part that was missing in their education prior to that, I think. So kids really react to art, especially when they get to make it.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And Veronica, what do you observe? About 30,000 folks annually? Talk about that.
Yep. Oh, well, let's see. So we're serving little tiny people,
right,
at preschools and elementary kids in their classrooms and in libraries. And then we've served kids from K through 12 with a poetry writing initiative.
Right.
And we have programs for teens specifically. We're the local coordinator for a national poetry recitation program
Right.
for high school kids. And then we do programming for adults and, all ages. And we go into senior communities and read to them. And we're just starting a kind of a new program with seniors where they become the readers in a reader's theater style performance.
Yeah. So for our non-educator audience, what's Reader's Theater?
Oh, well, reader's theater is where actors, and in this case, the actors will be the seniors, and they read aloud rehearsed pieces of literature. Sometimes it's a play, but it's typically a story or poetry of some sort. And they read dialogue, so they have different parts that they play, just like they would in a play. And but they don't move around the stage. They typically stand at a music stand and read, and the audience, instead of listening to music, they're listening to literature. Rather.
No, and I think that's great. You're working with seniors. We just had St. Paul's Senior Services on. We know it's a very vulnerable, population. The largest growing component of the homeless are seniors, unfortunately, as they outlive their money and so forth. Now, do you go to them? Will you go to like St. Paul's Senior Services, or will they come to you, or both?
Well, typically we go to them. However, we do have a program at the La Mesa Library where we read to seniors, and they all come together, and then we go there and read once a month. And most of the reading that we do with seniors is done once a month. So, on the first Thursday of every month, we go to venue X, and the second Friday, we go to somewhere else.
Yeah, I think, first of all, we're all, I guess I'm a senior for that matter, but, we're all going to get there. Oscar has got a ways to go, but he will be in that area. We can't do enough for our seniors. I don't think we do enough for our seniors. So that's just one great way to reach out to them. As we're chatting with our friends from Write Out Loud, Veronica Murphy is the artistic director, joined by her colleague, Pamela Brittain, she's a performer for Write Out Loud. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things for people in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's literacy, whether it's working with the homeless and so forth. I'm honored to have sitting next to me a current Aztec for life. He's a journalism major at San Diego State, Oscar Juarez, and so forth. So talk a little bit about, with this more Poe and More Poe and everything in between.
Okay. So we've been doing a Poe-focused program. Gosh, I didn't even look to see. I think about 10 years. And we used to do it in the Adobe Chapel down in Old Town, but some damage happened to that building, so we can't be there anymore. And during the pandemic, we actually filmed all of our Poe programming and distributed it via email. But now we are at the Villa Montezuma, which is an amazing Victorian Queen Anne structure in Sherman Heights. And we've been there now, I think this is our 5th year there. And this year it's called Poe and More Poe, because typically it has Poe and other authors of the macabre, but in this case, everything we're performing is written by Poe.
Right.
And we have 3 weekends, both Friday and Saturday night, and we have 3 performances every of those evenings. So one at 6, one at 7:30, and one at 9.
And what are the dates?
The 17th and 18th, and then the Friday and Saturday following that, and the closing weekend is Halloween and November 1st.
Right. So, Pamela, is Poe one of your favorite writers, poets, performers, macabres, if that's a word?
Well, Poe is a master, and how wonderful a setting to be able to have it at the Villa Montezuma, which is part of the admission is you get to go in and tour that house. And you can just imagine people from long ago telling stories in that house. It was the
Palace
of the Arts when Jesse Shepard lived there. So it's just a wonderful merger of two great things.
Right. So are there other poets that you would think about doing this with, or it's Poe and only Poe?
Well, this year it's Poe and only Poe.
Gotcha.
In the past, we've incorporated, a variety of other writers of the macabre, but typically from the 19th century.
Right, exactly. And so for the performances, is it for teens? Is it for or 18 and above, 21 and above, or anyone?
No, it's really, well, I don't know that I would bring a 5-year-old, it's Poe.
You'd be surprised.
But we did, actually a few years ago, one of our performers brought her kids, and they were like 7 and 5 or something, and they came and had a great time. But I would say, 8, 9, what kids get interested in Poe pretty young, through whatever, The Raven, Annabelle Lee, whatever. And so, but they do, in this version, they will be coming into the building and moving from room to room, but they will be seated for about 20 minutes in each performance. Because I didn't really explain that. When you come to the 6:00 performance, or any of them, it actually involves 3 different performances in that. So you are in one room for one performance, then you are led to another room, and that's a different performance. And then you go to the third room and a final performance, and then you're out the door so that the next group can come in.
So our tickets, where do you get them?
So the best way is to get them online.
Right.
And that is on our website, which is Write Out Loud SD, like San Diego, and it's Write, WRITE.com. And the homepage is, has a big way to buy tickets, a couple clicks through. And the tickets are $30 a piece.
Very reasonable, of course, for a great evening on this. Oscar, do you read Poe? Have you read Poe?
I have read The Raven before in high school. I was always interested in it. I've always wanted to read a little bit more by him. I think he's a very interesting man. I've done my research. I used to watch YouTube essays about him in high school, and I got really into him via, I don't know if you guys know the show Gilmore Girls. There is a part of the show, I think an episode where the town does a Edgar Allan Poe festival, and everybody dresses up, and everybody gets to reenact their favorite Edgar Allan Poe poems, and they all dress up like Poe, and they bring ravens, and there's like this whole scene where 2 people argue about who did the better version of the raven, and it's a very funny thing, and I got very into him through that. Actually, that was something I was going to ask you, is that do you get anybody who dresses up and gets really into it?
Yes, we do have people that dress up, typically in, Victorian attire, and lots of dark, ghosty, not ghosty, but
ghoulish? No?
I would say more gothic.
Okay, got it.
And
now, will you dress up?
Well, I'm in the show this year for the first time.
Really?
So I will be in costume. Yeah, all the actors are in costume. And
Pamela, you on the show?
Not this year, but I'll be there taking tickets at the door.
Okay, will you be dressed up?
Of course.
Will you have a raven on your shoulder?
You never know.
You never know on that. No, that's great. When we come back, we're going to chat more with our friends from Write Out Loud. Veronica Murphy, artistic director, joined by our colleague Pamela Brittain. She's a performer. She'll be ticket-taking at this performance of Poe and so forth. We want to talk about Mano, Monologue also. And then we always save, as Veronica knows, Pamela, time at the second half. What can our listeners do to support your efforts? Obviously, go to the performances. But if they can't, can they donate? Can they volunteer? Can they do whatever? When we return right after this short message.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 19th year. We started at the same time, Right Out Loud was getting its feet wet, so to speak. And that's who our guests are. Veronica Murphy, the artistic director, joined by our colleague Pamela Brittain, a performer that I'm joined by my guest co-host, Oscar Juarez. He is a senior at San Diego State in journalism. And so I know Oscar has another question for you, Veronica.
Yes, Veronica. Tell us about Mano and Monologue. I actually really like that name, by the way. Very funny.
It's actually a show you would probably really like.
Really?
So Mano and Monologue was written and will be performed by a San Diego native performer. He was the product of the master's program at UCSD many years ago, and he is one of the funniest people that you will ever meet. He's a great physical comic, kind of a Dick Van Dyke kind of guy, and this show is going to be really funny, and it is stories that he has put together about what he calls his best misses. In other words, when he went to an audition and he really messed up.
Not MRS, MISS, right?
Oh,
yeah. Just want to throw that out there,
Yes.
Okay.
Like you missed the boat.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So when he has gone to an audition or tried to get a job or whatever, and he has really messed up for some reason, what he said to me yesterday was, a lot of bad choices, but he's so very funny. And he's also my nephew. So I am kind of partial to him, but he regularly, I don't mean regularly, but he often performs for us as Right Out Loud. He used to perform in San Diego when he was younger. He performed at South Coast Rep for many years. He's a fabulous performer. He's done some films in LA, but now he has a wife and children and a mortgage, and he has a different job. So he likes to perform with us because it doesn't take, days worth of rehearsal. And we do rehearse our pieces, but it's usually not like being in a play. And
right. And that's November 2nd and 3rd, correct?
Yes, it is. And the tickets are also on our website. And I really encourage you to come. It is just going to be a delight. Funny.
Right. I want to see if I can make myself a liar in front of Susan Clausen for the 4,000th time. Because I always promise I'm going to go to these things. And my intentions are always good. But sometimes I just can't quite make it. But we'll see. Maybe an Oscar and I will take on one of these things. Certainly the Poe thing, maybe, or a monologue. Let me ask you a question. From your standpoint, 20 years as a teacher at Southwest High School, why should every student should be exposed to this? Talk about how important that is, Pamela.
Well, a lot of kids like Poe, and that is a great gateway into poetry and other types of literature. And Poe is an interesting, fascinating, really scary, spooky guy, and his poetry and stories are exactly what teenagers like to read. So it's a good way to get them into other literature and then explore his life is pretty interesting. Kids really like reading about that and so forth. So Poe is a good gateway, a good entry into wonderful literature.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Oscar. Are you going to be on the print side of journalism, or are you going to be maybe in advertising or PR? Have you made a decision on what aspect you're going to be?
Not quite yet. I've been doing my research this past year, counting on how it's my senior year. Definitely need to find out something before I go into this field blindly. I've always been interested in print media. It is a dying medium, but I've always been interested in Variety, Vanity Fair, The Atlantic, Washington Post. I grew up with the New York Times through my mother and my father. So I've always been fascinated with print media. And lately I've been taking a knack for arts and culture, and I've been doing movie reviews and different things.
For the Daily Aztec, for the school paper?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote for the Daily Aztec. Do I even dare say this? Yeah, 50 years ago, literally. And I'm glad to see it's now. Is it online or is it a print copy?
It is online. They are bringing back the print copy this year. They removed it last semester, and I think there was an uprise in the community, and they said, bring it back. And they said, okay. And now there's a whole section devoted to everybody bringing back the print media.
No, I think it's so important. Of course, I'm very little prejudiced about that, very passionate about print media. I think we need it more than ever in this day and age that we're in. We're chatting with our friends from Write Out Loud, Veronica Murphy, the artistic director, joined by her colleague Pamela Brittain, performer. She's been was teaching in Southwest High School for 20 years. I'm Drew Schlosberg, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are in our 19th year, the longest running community podcast in the nation, brought to you by fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of really doing great things in our community. They have so many touch points, whether it's literacy, whether it's the art, whether it's homeless, food insecurity. They're there. Joined by my guest co-host, Oscar Juarez. He's a senior at San Diego State, majoring in journalism. So I'll start with you on this, Pamela, and then we'll go over here and shift it to Veronica. Our listeners tend to be very benevolent. They like to get involved at some level. What can we do to support Write Out Loud?
Well, Write Out Loud is all over the community. When you start looking at what they do, we have a lot of programs, not only at museums and so forth, but in the schools. And that's really where, from my perspective, they really hit the ball out of the park, so to speak, with the school involvement, teacher involvement. There's a program that they do where every student gets a book to read for that year, the book of the year kind of thing. And kids
do they keep the book?
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
And what I love seeing in those years is when you hand out those books, children literally caress them. They're so happy to have a book that is theirs. And that shows me how important books are in their lives, even if they don't know it yet.
I'm so glad you brought that up. A frequent guest on our show is Jose Cruz, the CEO of the San Diego Council on Literacy. As you know, Veronica, because of my work with the Union Tribune, Mrs. Copley of the Copley family was a co-creator of the Council on Literacy in 1986. And what Jose talks about all the time is exactly how you described it, is that when these kids get a book, no matter what the age is, it's theirs. It's not a hand-me-down. It's not my little brothers or sisters. It's mine. And that's exactly how they respond. They caress it like it's their baby, because it is their baby. And it may be the first book that they've ever been told, this is your book, correct?
That's correct. And as we know here at this table, books are the entryway to everything. Everything you want to do, everything you want to know. And you really can't get through life without being a reader.
Right. And, which is so critical, Veronica. We can't do enough to support Write Out Loud. Besides going to these performances, what else can we do?
Well, we're a nonprofit, and so we do accept donations of all sizes, $10, $10,000, everything in between or more. We provide. All of our educational programs are provided for free. That's in the schools and the libraries and everywhere. And that money comes from the generosity of people.
Yeah, and we've been saying this for 19 years. There's no such thing as too small of a donation. Any donation is great, or in terms of volunteering as well. Do you use a lot of volunteers?
Yeah, we do. Well, we have volunteers for our performances.
Right.
We have ushers that help us. We also have volunteers that help us stay organized and help us at events. And it's one of the cool things is when a volunteer says, I do this and this and this, and then we find a place for that.
Right, exactly. Shout out Poe and More. When is it going to be playing, and how do you get tickets?
Okay. So you get tickets on our website, writeoutloudsd.com. And on the homepage, it'll be very obvious. And it is the 17th and 18th of October. Again, Friday and Saturday. The following weekend, I think it's the 25th and 26th, but
24th, 25th?
24th, 25th.
Right.
That's Friday and Saturday. And then on Halloween, the 31st and November 1st.
Will there be anything special on the Halloween date since it is a Poe thing?
Well, Halloween.
Yes.
You mean like, are we giving out candy or something?
I don't know. The best Poe outfit, gets to perform on stage. Of course, that's not going to happen. But, and how appropriate it's Poe and Halloween. Is there a better match, right?
Right, exactly.
Not that Poe and Thanksgiving wouldn't work, but and so forth. That's great. Well, as always, Veronica, it's so good to see you. You do such great things in this community. And Pamela, what a pleasure. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for the parents to say, give this opportunity to your kids at any age. We tend to think about, this is really only elementary school and middle school. Not true. This is good K-12 and above, community college as well in this. So applaud you for everything you're doing. Hi to Walter again for me, wishing you nothing but great success for Poe and More Poe, and of course on Mano and Monologue. That'll be November 2nd and 3rd. And just knock it dead.
Can I just say one more thing?
You can say as many things as you'd like.
I just want to say about Mano and Monologue is I never gave you the name of the performer and the playwright. So his name is David Fenner. And again, he is a native San Diegan, and he is really funny. I hope you'll consider coming to all of these events.
See, you should not have given the name, because then people would have to go, who is this guy? I need to go see it and find out. Absolutely. I'm sure David appreciates that. Well, thank you so much, Veronica and Pamela, for coming on. Good luck with the performances. Oscar, how did you enjoy your very first co-hosting of a podcast?
Had a great time. Had two great guests. I'll see you at Poe and Poe. I'll be the one with the big mustache and the comb over and the big raven on my shoulder.
I think that's great.
I can't wait.
Yeah, you did a fine job. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.